beloveds. This is Sheea from Maui, and just checking in with you for giving you encouragement around these interesting times where we're going through, maybe being stuck in our homes or whatever you're choosing to do. I'm not choosing to do any of that. I'm going on my walks and going and getting supplies and all that good stuff. But those of you who maybe don't know what the heck's going on, and maybe fear is becoming a part of your story, I just want to encourage you, because the old regime that was running the show and government and the world really at large, and that kind of was hoarding all of the prosperity mostly for themselves, and they are dying, and they feed off of negative energy, and that's why they put out such disparaging news all the time, and or always seems like, I don't know, have a way of making life worse for us as we go along. So I just want you to be aware of that dynamic, that they wouldn't like nothing more for you to feel like it's doomsday, and they want you to think it's the end times, and that we're going into Armageddon and everything's getting worse, and that's what they have perpetrated. And unfortunately, they've even manipulated the Bible to the point where they've omitted parts of the Bible where that's what we have to look forward to, almost kind of a message, and that's just not the case. So be careful what you give your power over to. What they're referring to mostly, if you want to understand, is like from Christianity's point of view, you may have heard of the rapture, and all that yucky doomsday stuff happens after the rapture. So, to try to feed you as though it's going to happen now is just not correct. But like I said, they feed off of that negative energy, and that's what fuels them. So they're constantly putting out kind of doomsday news to you. And, while we're talking about the rapture, that's something to think about, because you certainly don't want to be that person that has neglected your spirituality to the point to where when you are really faced with the choice of, are you on Team Dark or Team Light, you're kind of like, shit, you haven't really been living according to Team Light. Maybe you've let addictions take over your life, and maybe you've been out of integrity. And this is a time, it's kind of like one of those moments in history where you need to make a decision and go one way or the other, because you will be, it's kind of going to be separating the men from the boys, the goats from the sheep, however you want to say it. And you're going to want to be prepared. So if that means plugging back into your church, or starting listening to, spiritual YouTubes to get fed spiritually, reading spiritual books, meditating, all those things that we do, even if you just go to church just to sing the songs, and then you leave after, that's something, right? You need to build yourself up spiritually, because when you're not spiritually stable or grounded in these times, it can really throw you around and toss you around, like you don't have a good solid root in your spirituality and knowing what's happening. So this is that time when you're going to want to take care of business and clean up your life if you feel you need to. Having things like addictions is kind of more of a sign of being on Team Dark. It's behavior that is Team Dark, because it lets entities in that feed off of that energy, and feed off of you and the addiction. So that's where you're going to want to address these things, so that you're not in a position of just being unprepared and not ready for going and ascending with the rest of us into 5D and the new earth and all that stuff. You don't want to be left behind, so to speak. And it's just something to think about. Aloha.